Yeah. So can you all see my screen?
Yes, please, I can see from my end.
Okay. So we most of the things that we are going to do, I know you already know that they are not new, as I mentioned it or as I said on the page. We are not going to do something which is entirely new. There are things that you know, and I'm talking about the foundational things. And when I say foundational things, I'm talking about foundational things relating to systematic literature review. There are things that you know. So it's the same thing with the system, the meta-analysis. It's the same approach. So where do you go to, and what do you look for? So normally, before you go into any of the searches, any of the databases to do your searches, you need to have your keywords. So as far as this topic is concerned, we are looking at green buildings, barriers of green buildings in the Ghanaian setting or Ghana. So we can decide to go to any of the databases, and we can start from Google Scholar, and then later on we go to. Is there anybody who wants to join? Okay. Yeah, we'll start from Google Scholar, and then later we can move on to Scopus and the rest. Okay, now let's look at the barriers of green building Ghana. So this is how you do the search and the Google Scholar. We'll come back to other databases. Okay, so what we are seeing, or what I'm seeing, is I'm seeing 4,400 resource that are talking about barriers, green building in Ghana. This is one of the limitations of the Google Scholar. Google Scholar will give you results, but normally Google Scholar will give you any type of resource. And any it has a limitation in terms of limiting you to the specific kind of articles that you need. Yeah, so we can decide to rely on it because 4,400 is a lot, but they are a lot, and I don't think we are going to use all of them. So what we can do is we can decide to go to Scopus. Scopus has a way of helping us to get Scopus and Web of Science have a way of helping us to get a specific results that we need. I'm going to use the two of them. So Scopus, and then later on I'll go to Web of Science. Okay, so I have my barriers. What other terms can be used in place of barriers? Risk, challenges, they are all the same. They kind of work together. And then green buildings. What other term can be used for green building? Green projects.
Sustainable design, sustainable.
A sustainable projects.
Sustainable infrastructure.
Sustainable infrastructure. And also talk about green infrastructure. So all these things are related. Then here, Ghana. So we have all these things. So the next thing is to do the search. So we are getting 42. So as I said, the Scopus and the Web of Science, they help you to get specific results that you want. But normally, as Google Scholar will give you anything, including the ones which are sometimes not even relevant to what you are dealing with. So 42 articles, which I think, yeah, they are quite good. But here, we are just going to do some limitations, or we are going to limit the search by including, this is where the inclusion and exclusion thing will come in. So we are going to include articles and journal article reviews, and then we'll forget about the rest. And I guess by this time, you know the justification. I'm not going to go into all these things because we don't have time to do that. So for 32 results are here, and then the English, yes, journal, yeah. So 32 documents. That's good. That's good. 32 documents. Now let me go to Web of Science and do the same and see whether we'll get similar results. And if we get similar result, which is 32, that means or something higher or lower, we have to do some duplicate analysis and remove articles that appear in Scopus and Web of Science 2 or more times. Or one or more than one. So I'm going to just use the same keywords that we use for this search. And then is there something? Okay, yeah, there was an issue. Okay, so this, I'll add another row. This row will cover for the green building thing. Then there will be another row, which in this context will be for Ghana. Now I do the search, and I'm getting 42 results as well. Right? Good. So if I'm getting the 42 results, just like what we got for the Scopus, and I do some refining. Try the thing not working. Yes, I'm trying. Okay. Let me try and take these ones out. When they are not ready to be available. Okay, so we will have 38. So out of the 38, you can download all of them. And then you also download all the ones in. You download all the articles also from Scopus, right? So here, I'll prefer to download them and keep them. I'll send them to you. The two. You will do this work later. Is everything okay? Okay. So maybe somebody went out. So I'm going to, yeah, any question?
So when we were during the, when we were scripting in Scopus,
Okay.
we inserted the keywords on title, abstract, and then I think keywords. But when you went to Web of Science, you only selected topic.
Topic.
Would that not-
Okay. Okay. Then I didn't check that. I just went straight into the 10. Yeah, but I think the Web of Science, the way they have done the, I think I get your point. But Web of Science, how they have designed their platform is a bit different from Scopus. Can you see that? When you click on it, I have never used Web of Science before. Okay. Yeah. So the way they have structured their platform or their software, their platform software is a little bit different. So you can use the topic, you can use the title of the articles, you can use the authors, you can use publication source, the year that they were published. It's a little bit different from how Scopus, they have structured. Yes, which is also about the abstracts, the keywords, and all that. But them, they don't have the title. But in most cases, what I know is that many people use, some people, or many people, or most scholars use all fields. They can use all fields. And when you use all fields, you are likely to get more resource, right? But most Scopus, those who, a lot of scholars who conduct some of these searches in Scopus, what I have seen is they normally use article title, abstract, and keywords. These are the common ones that they use. And I agree with them in a sense that if you want to add something like this, the affiliation of a city, funding source, the DOI, references, you may end up getting so many results. And mind you, so many results, for all that you know, it's just maybe one word which appeared in it, and the paper may not be important. But when you look at it from the article's title, the abstract, the keywords, I think normally this is where you see the most important things. Of course, these three do not capture everything in the article. We understand that. Because when you go into the article, you see introduction, the literature review section, methodology section, you see the finding section, you see the conclusion section. But at least once you have the title, you have the abstracts, you have the keywords, you get something important from here. Yeah, well, they all have, they all have their limitations anyway. They all have their weaknesses. But you just go by what previous authors have done, and you'll be safe. Because
Okay.
each of the approaches, each of the way that you decide to go, each of them, they come with their own issues and their limitations. Yeah. Okay, so I've downloaded, or I didn't. Did I download or I didn't download? I think I
You've
did.
downloaded.
Okay, from the Scopus. Now let me come to the Web of Science. The Web of Science too, because I'll send them to you later on, and then you do the duplicate analysis. The duplicate analysis means that you will see two articles appearing, or I mean the same article appearing twice in the Web of Science and also in the Scopus. When it happens that way, you have to delete one of them. Okay, so I'm going to export all the 38. Come to export, and then you click on Excel. It will ask you what you want to export. So I want to select all. In situations where you have more than 38, because normally when they are few, you can still, but if they are more than that, you need to click on records from, or if you have specific number that you want to select, maybe 1 to 10, you can also click on this. Or if you want to only download the first page, a specific page, you can do that. Okay, so all, and then I'll click on author, title, source, and abstract, and I'll export. So this will also be exported. Okay, good. So now that you have your article, the important articles that you did. The next thing to do is that you come to do the duplicate analysis as well as the screening. The screening here is the title and abstract screening. But before you do the abstract and title screening, always make sure that you have done the duplicate analysis. And what is the duplicate analysis? Once again, it means one article or the same article will appear twice from the Scopus download and then the Web of Science download. So you check. And then if they are the same, you take one out. Then after that, you come to do what we call title screening, title and abstract screening. With the title screening, you go through the titles and check whether the titles are relevant to what you are working on, like the research that you are doing, you are conducting. Is it relevant? You keep it. If it's not relevant, you take it out. Then you add the abstract. This is where you read through the abstract and see whether the articles, purpose, method, findings, conclusion, whatever implications, whatever they put in the abstract, they are related to what you are studying. If they are related, keep it. If they are not, you take them out. Okay, because the articles are not too many, I will encourage you to go back to Google Scholar after you have done all these things, because it's possible some of the articles, it's possible, I'm not saying they are not, it's possible some of the articles didn't appear or have not been archived in both the schools and Web of Science. And because Google Scholar capture everything, it's possible there are some articles, important journal articles, which have not been captured. Therefore, I will encourage you, after you have done these two, that you go back to the Google Scholar and check whether you go through them and see whether you can find one or two articles which are also important to your study or for your study.
Okay.
So you can do that. Okay. So after doing everything and you get your article, the next thing is you come to the analysis, and the analysis part is where we use the meta-analysis. The analysis part is where we use the meta-analysis. So the meta-analysis is actually applied. So as I said, it's the normal systematic literature review processes that we have gone through. You do the search, you get the articles, you go through them, you select the relevant articles and all that, the same process. But the main issue is the analysis part, which is the last part. That is where you apply the meta-analysis. Good. So the meta-analysis, there are two things that you need to know. What data do you need for the meta-analysis? What data? So out of the articles that you have selected as relevant, right? You need to pick the articles that use quantitative method to conduct their study. So for example, if I'm going to use Deborah's paper, barriers to doing city development, barriers to green city development in developing countries, evidence from Ghana, right? If you check this article, you can see, when you check the methodology section, you can see that the authors use a quantitative method. They use quantitative method. If this article you use, in case they use qualitative method, you have to take it out, because meta-analysis is a quantitative approach, quantitative method. And the data that you have to feed into the meta-analysis must also be quantitative. I hope you get it. It's a quantitative thing. Therefore, anything that you feed or you put into the meta-analysis, which is a meta-analysis, must also be quantitative. So you check out articles that use quantitative method, right? You can see clearly from here that the authors use quantitative method. If you want to go down and check, you can get a full article. I'm going to try and see whether I can get a full article for you, so that we all go through it. I just want to use Emerald. Go to Emerald. I just want to get a full article so that we all go and see at the methodology section whether indeed and their resource, whether they use quantitative method or not. Because they may have stated it, but maybe that's not what they use. So you need to prove, you need to make sure that that's what they did. But this if you the relevant articles that you select, you get a full paper. You get a full paper, you download them, you get all the full papers, because that will support you in your analysis. That will help you to determine the ones which are quantitative and the ones which are not quantitative. Yeah, so I have the PDF. I'm going to open it. We are all going to check whether indeed they use. Oh no. Oh, is it a book chapter?
This is different.
Oh, this is different. Sorry. There's something wrong. Okay, let me check again. I think there's something that went wrong. Yeah, because you give me the PDF. Okay, it's opening. Okay, good. So I have the article here. What do? We go straight to the methodology section, and it is clear from their data analysis and even the entire methodology that indeed they use quantitative. You can see some of them here. The relative importance index is one, and then they also use descriptives, standard deviation, mean, kurtosis, skewness. Yeah. So this is purely quantitative analysis, right? I'll come back to tell you what to select in these articles for you to help you to do the analysis. But what you need to determine first is that go through all the articles that you have selected to be relevant, and then determine the ones that use quantitative methods. The ones that didn't use quantitative methods, take them out. Or if you want to keep them, you can keep them, which can support you to get information to do your analysis. Okay, so all the studies that use, I just want to open my meta-analysis paper that I shared with you. I mean, one of you shared it in the, on the page.
Yeah.
Yes, I want you just, I want you to read it. So I'm just going to take you through it. But you have the opportunity to go through, read the same thing I'm explaining. So one, as I said, you first do what? The search. You do the search as we have done. And then you determine the articles. I mean, you search for the articles in the Scopus Web of Science and all that. Now you select the relevant articles based on your what? Your eligibility criteria. You set up the eligibility criteria, which is the inclusion and exclusion criteria, then you go ahead to select. So as you can see from here, we ended up selecting 13 articles. And why 13 articles? One of the eligibility criteria is that the study must be a quantitative study, an analytical study, which use either primary data or secondary data. Or when we say cross-sectional study designs, we are talking about questionnaire survey. Quantitative here can be econometrics, financial data, anything quantitative. Okay. And then, but we excluded systematic review. So any literature review, any study or any literature review must be excluded. Any qualitative study must be excluded. Report must be excluded. Thesis, all these things must be excluded. They cannot be part of a meta-analysis. So once again, please don't forget the study, the paper that you are selecting must be quantitative, it must be analytical, it must be cross-sectional in nature.
Okay.
This is very important for meta-analysis. So in meta-analysis, we don't include qualitative study, we don't include systematic reviews, we don't include reports, we don't include books, we don't include thesis, remove them. Okay, so when we went through everything, we ended up having 13 articles. Out of the 439, was 13 articles that met all the criteria. And it is acceptable because I explained here that with meta-analysis, you can use 2 or 5 or 10 or more studies, even smaller one, but the minimum should be 2. If you have 2 quantitative studies, you can use them to conduct meta-analysis. Now let me take you to how the data was extracted. So let me take you back again to Caleb Debre's paper. So now we know that this paper is quantitative, but the question is, what specific data do we extract to do the analysis? Yes, the paper itself was done with quantitative. So I've explained that here. Okay, so first we just extracted the basic information which help us to do the normal, like the titles, the authors, the year of publication. It's just the normal one, but that's not really part of the meta-analysis. The meta-analysis is secondly data relating to the sample size. So this is what you have to extract. One, get to know the sample size that study used. So let's go back to Caleb-Debre's paper, for example. How many people did they use? What was the sample size? So they use 154, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, so get the sample size, 154, put it down. And you have to do the same for all other papers. So sample size, extract that. And then you have to extract what again? And the number of, okay, so here, the study, this paper was about, we were trying to get to know the climate mitigation strategies. So I extracted the number of climate mitigation strategies that these studies, the 13 papers, we identify in them. So here, either you count or here you can also get them from the factors. So if you take Caleb-Debre's paper, for example, they have mentioned 20 barriers. So the 20 barriers become, so how many? 20. If you go to another paper, maybe they may come up with 15 or 30 or something. But if in case you don't see them in a table like this, you can decide to count them by reading the article. Sometimes the number of barriers or factors or whatever, they are there. But here it is so clear. Good. Maybe another time when we do another tutorial, I'll take you through how to also use the relative importance index to do this, but that one is not for today. I don't want to bombard you with so many things. Yeah, so here 20. Okay, so I'm going to open the Excel sheet that we use, or I use. I'm going to open the Excel sheet that was used for the meta-analysis and show you how I included all the, is it this one? I think it should be likely to be this one. It's not one I will be. Okay, yes. This is the thing. This is, I will share this with you, I will share this Excel with you. So this is the number of articles. So how many articles did we select? 13. Right? Good. And
Yes, Ted.
we're trying to look at the climate mitigation strategies, which are the factors. So each of the articles, we identify a number of climate mitigation strategies, which are the factors identified. And these are here. And then the sample size also here. Then we went ahead to compute what we call the effect size. How do you get an effect size? The effect size is just the number of factors that you identified divided by the sample size. If you take this one, for example, is the event, which is the factors or the climate mitigation strategies that we identified divided by the sample size. Then we went ahead to compute what we call the standard error. How did we get a standard error? The standard error is the effect size divided by the square root of the sample size times the effect size. Yeah, so that's how we got that. And then we computed the variance and then the rest. But most of the things here, they are not really needed. It just, I did this because there is a paper. I want to show you that paper. I try to do it manually. This approach is when you want to do it manually without using a software. Manually, and when I say manually, it means you are using the Excel sheet to generate your meta-analysis results. So if you want to follow that, there is a paper here that was put together by a scholar called Negev or Nagev. What the name? Yeah. Okay, this is one. I think I got it wrong. So this is the paper. I want everybody to get this paper. In this paper, they give you step by step. If in case you don't have a software, right, and you want to do meta-analysis in a simple way, okay, so the scholar or the researcher is here. He has given you step-by-step approach as to how to conduct your meta-analysis. And that's exactly what this is what I learned, or this is what I followed. And I used to do my, right? So everything, and it is step by step. So let me share it in the chat box for you. Yeah. So you can get access to this paper, download this paper, and you can do step by step. So in case you don't have a software and you want to conduct a meta-analysis using Excel, that's the approach. This is the easy approach to do it. Very simple. Okay, that's good. So I'm not going to take you through all these things because, to be honest, we don't have that enough time to be doing that. And I've given you the article so you can look at that. And I also have a video on it. So you can do this because these are just normal computations. I also send you this Excel sheet. I've done the computation. So when you click on it, the thing is there. There's no need for me to do everything for you. Okay, now let's assume that you don't have Excel, but rather you have a software. How do you go about that? Okay, so if you have a software, and the question is, what kind of software? There is a software called Jamovi. There are other ones. But the reason why I'm introducing you to Jamovi is that Jamovi is free to download. The other one, like Cochrane, we have another one called Cochrane Refman. Cochrane Refman will also help you to do your meta-analysis. Okay, but normally Cochrane Refman, you have to pay for it. Come with terms and conditions. But Jamovi is free. Jamovi or Jamovi. So you can download this free of charge on your machine. Free. You don't have to pay, you don't have to subscribe, it's free. It's called Jamovi or Jamovi. You Google it, you get that. So I have that on my laptop. So I'm going to use that to help you. I'm going to help you that in case you don't have or you don't want to use Excel, which you have to go through this rigorous processes, and you want to just put everything into the Excel, generate your results, then what do you do? So I have my Jamovi open. This is how it looks like. Okay, so what I have to do is I'll just select the data. Two things, either you can import or you can select and paste them, just like as we do it in SPSS. So here, what you need to, or what I'm going to select, I'm going to select the event, the sample size, the effect size, and then the standard error, and then the variance. Normally, these are the basic things that you have to select. And the article here, you can decide to, instead of using article 1, 2, 3, you can use the specific names, maybe Joshua Eta 2024, Benjamin Eta 2021, so and so. It just so the article 1, 2, 3 that you see here, they have specific names or they have specific authors, so there's a way to cite them. You can put them here instead of using article 1, 2, 3. But in my case, I decided to do it this way. Okay, so select the article, the event, sample size. The event is the number of barriers or whatever you identify, the effect size, the standard error, and then the variance. So I'm going to put them here. All right. When I put them here, I need to specify what they are. So if you want to specify, you click on it, and then you write the name. So these are for the articles. And the article, what is it? Is it a nominal, ordinal, or what? So you can say this is just, you can leave it as ordinal. There's no really importance. It's not be part of our analysis. Or you can say there is their ID, whatever you want to leave it with. And then, yeah. Now the second one, the event, you need to specify what they are. So in this context, they were, let me use our work barriers to what? To green building. And what are they? How do we measure it? Is it a number? Yeah, they are numbers, they are figures, they are not nominal. So we can either use continuous or ordinal, any of them, acceptable. Now we take the next one, and the next one represent the effect size. Effect size too, they are also continuous data. In other words, you have to help us to know the specific how the data is. Is it continuous? Is it ordinal? I guess you know these things already. The different scales, different measurement scales of the data set. We have the nominal, ordinal, we have the continuous. The continuous in this context will represent both the ratio and then the interval scale. Okay, so this one is what's the name? This one is standard error. This is like this and grow, and then this one is the variance, the var. So the var here is the variance. I also leave this one as this. Okay, so what next? So the next thing to do is to run our meta-analysis. To run the meta-analysis, you just click on measure, and then you select effect size and sample variance. When you select effect size and sample variance, it will ask you to put certain things here. So here I'll put the study label here, and then the effect size, and then here the variance, the var is the variance. You can use any of them, either the variance or the standard error. Any of them should work. Once you do that, it will give you automatic results on your right hand side. Can you see that? It's generating. So this is the results, right? It will give you the results. So this is the results of your meta analysis. It's going to give you the random effect of fixed effect results. It will give you this heterogeneity statistics. It will give you what we call the forest plot. It will give you the funnel plot. I don't know why the funnel plot. Okay, funnel plot came here. But this one, the funnel plot doesn't go well, but that's okay. Let me use rather standard error and see whether there will be any difference in the results. Okay, it seems they are the same. Yeah. So this is the results that you get, and then equivalence test plot. Yeah. So this is what you can see. Some of you can see in my paper, and I'm going to interpret them briefly, and then we end. Maybe probably I'll be happy to do another one again. Maybe next week. I think that would be great. I won't mind. Next week, maybe around this time, we can meet again and go through them after I've sent all the documents to you. So now let's look at my results. I don't want to focus on the initial outcomes. That's one will be explained later on. So this is the outcome of the meta-analysis. So one, the prevalence of the climate risk management strategies. This one is showcased or demonstrated by what we call a forest plot. So let's come here. You can see the forest plot. All right. So this is a forest plot. The question is, what does the forest plot mean? That's the main question. It's not just about showing the figures. So the forest plots help us to identify how prevalent. In other words, when we pick each of the papers, right, we want to see how common or how have the authors mentioned or stated or have used the terms And the terms in this context, I'm talking about the climate risk mitigation strategies, but in our case, it's going to be barriers of green building. How have they used them? Is it something that they have used them commonly? Is it something that it can be easily identified? Is it like widespread in these articles, or they are not? If they are widespread, then it's a good thing. But if they are not widespread, then there's something wrong. And that will also lead us to also look at what we call heterogeneity index. Okay, so that is the first one. Then the second is the publication bias. The publication bias helps us to check whether the articles that we have published, there is any potential bias in terms of how they have been represented in the articles. In terms of the data set, if we pick one article, can we see these mitigation strategies being concentrated in only one article? Because we know this is a software and it's generating a resource for us, or it's giving us results. It's possible most of the resource or the barriers or the strategies, they are concentrated just only in one or two articles. The other articles, which is about the 11 articles, you won't see much there. Okay, so it helps us to test that. And we use what we call a funnel plot. So let's go to this funnel plot. Didn't work well, so probably I think the figures are even huge. I'll check again. It's possible that's not what we actually use. Yeah. So that's a funnel plot for you. It's supposed to come in the form of like a funnel. We all know funnel, right? This one. We know what funnels are. Then there is an aspect called subgroup analysis. So subgroup analysis will also help you to do some analysis about the kind of articles that you have. For example, in these green building articles, we can do subgroup analysis based on the project types. Maybe we can concentrate on green buildings which are only housing. Green buildings which are related to green infrastructure projects which are related to roads, projects which are related to what again, railway or something. We can do that analysis. But in this context, what the kind of analysis that we did in terms of the subgroup was to look at it from the data. We separated the data from the developing countries against developed countries. But in this context, which is our study, we are not comparing countries. We are just using one country, which is Ghana. So we can't do that kind of analysis here. I think we can do project type. Yeah. We can do if we want to. So yes, so these are the things that we did about the meta-analysis, but it doesn't mean that's all that you have to do about meta-analysis. There are so many resources we can see from here, and there are so many other approaches by which you can go about them. You can even do correlation coefficient analysis. It's also a form of meta-analysis. You can do dichotomous models analysis. It's also a form of meta-analysis. You can do mean differences analysis. It's also a form of meta-analysis. You can do reliability check and analysis. It's also a form of meta-analysis. So you have to choose the type of meta-analysis that you want to undertake, right? Based on the data set that you have. The reason why I chose this effect size and sample size is because that's what I had, but it doesn't mean they are the only things that you can do. So you can see from here that the types of meta-analysis have been stated. Yeah, so that is all that I can say. Any question from anyone before we go? I will really appreciate if we meet next week again to go through them after I've sent all these documents to you for you to go through. And if somebody has a question when we meet next week, I can address your questions for you. Okay, any question from anyone? Gosway.
I think I'm okay. So
Okay, so I want everybody to download the Jamovi, okay, and play around it. I'll send this Excel sheet and then the data also to you, or please just play around it. Yeah, play with this video. If you do that, I think by next week when we meet, even if you are able to even watch it once and just follow what we have done today, I think by next week we should be able to do it. So we should be somewhere. Yeah. Sure. Any question?
I think this is so much clearer, and it gives me
Yeah,
I've
very
been
clear.
able to understand the papers that all the papers that I read. You know,
Yes.
I that was why I was struggling to come up with. It. I was like wanted to understand what really entails in what they are saying. But this makes it much clearer. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Benjamin. Is Benjamin still online? Ben, do you have a question? Okay. What about, okay, Benjamin left. Elvis, any question? Elvis, okay, Ben, do you have a
Okay,
question?
so,
Or you
so
are okay?
thank you very much for the nice presentation.
You're
But
welcome.
I wanted to ask after following this, I wanted to get the main objective of doing the meta analysis. As in
Okay.
what's the
Why?
final the aim
Okay.
or the
Why we
outcome after doing all these?
Yeah, the reason why we do the meta-analysis is, the normal systematic literature review tend to be more qualitative inclined, right? Where we look at opinion, subject, because you can do a systematic literature review, the same topic with the same articles, and you come out with a different results. Somebody else, like Benjamin, can also do the same thing with the same number of articles. Because the systematic literature review is qualitative in nature, in most cases, the results tends to be subjective based on the authors involved, their views and their experiences and whatever they know about the thing. But with meta-analysis, because we are dealing with figures, if you run it and you get 5, when Joshua also ran it, you get 5. This one, you cannot bring your subjective thing on to it.
Oh, okay.
You get my point?
Yes, though.
Yes.
Okay.
So we try to get almost the same results as we get from the systematic literature review. But here we want to make it more objective. We want to take it away from the subjective outcomes of normal systematic literature review so that we all have the same results. Actually, meta-analysis is very, 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 very important to those who are in the medical science field. And if you can see the articles, most of them are coming from there. And I hope you know why. Because in the medical science field, if we test someone with malaria and we are all saying that the person has malaria, you cannot go and say somewhere and say that no, the person does not have malaria. It's like this doctor will say this and another one will say, you can't bring your subjective thing to the thing. That is why normally those in the pure science field, they prefer evidence, facts, objective facts, not subjective thing that, okay, Benjamin think is this way, Joshua has different view, Elvis has different. No. When it comes to medicine, they don't entertain that. It's just one fact. We are all sticking to one fact. Yeah. So that's why that's where the meta-analysis thing, that's where it came from. That's the original source of meta-analysis and even systematic literature review and all that we have today. Yeah, they came from the medical science field. Okay,
Yes.
any other
Thank you.
person?
Thank you.
Ghostway, you're welcome. Is that? Elvis, did you say
yes,
something?
No, I was thanking you. Thank you for the
Oh, you're
floor.
welcome. You're welcome. Okay. God's way. Before we go, this is the last person. Benjamin, do you want to say something before God's way? Benjamin.
No, Doc.
Okay, you're welcome. God's way. Say something, then we go.
Okay, so with regards to the Excel sheet before we close,
Okay.
I wanted to find out when you manually do it with the Excel sheet, it means that you will not be able to generate something like the forest plot, right?
You can generate. One good thing is that I want that article I sent you. Please follow it. There's also a manual way to generate final plots in the Excel. But to be honest, when I was learning all these things, I found it to be a little bit confusing and some way a bit. And it demands that you need to really take your time. They have that. I'm going to show you. They have a way of, he had a way of generating them. Look at this. So he generated this using Excel, and then he also I think there's one that is missing. He generated the forest plot. Yeah, this is the forest plot. So he generated these things using the normal Excel, not the normal. And he showed you how to go about this when you are using the Excel, right? How to plot and get all these things. I have tried using it before, and I actually generated something, which I don't know whether it's in this Excel sheet. I'm not so sure. If not this one, because I've generated a number of meta-analysis in the this is the one. Good. So this is the one. I tried doing this, as you can see, right? And it's a bit. Oh, my screen is gone. Okay, let me. And it's a bit kind of. It's a bit somewhere. Yeah. Let me show you my screen briefly. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yeah, this is what I did. So when I was doing it manual, this is what I did, right? But it comes with some kind of, you need to take your time, do some stuff. It's a bit difficult. And to me, once you have a software, just put them into the software, run them and go your way. Within a click, just a click, you get your results. Instead of that. That's my advice. But if you think you can learn that, they have all the steps there in that article. The authors really did well. Yeah, they did so well. So if you want to learn that step by step, you can do that step by step. They have outlined how to go about this. Okay, so yeah, the steps are here. They are all here. They have still all the steps, one after the other, including how to generate all that. Yeah, they are here. This one, this, they're all there. Yeah, so it's up to you as to how you want to go about it, or if you want to use Excel. I would suggest you use the software to make your life easier than to be going about all these things. It will take you a long time. Okay, thank you very much for coming. I'll send this thing to you, and as I said, we'll meet next week again, so that if anybody has any doubts or any issue, we can clarify them and get a thing like we have the same understanding before we start writing or doing the analysis. Because with this, it means majority of the work has been done already. Yeah, but for the sake of your own papers in the future, if you yourself you also want to write a meta-analysis, you can also do it in your own way. Okay, thank you for coming. Have a blessed weekend. Bye-bye.
Please, you say it with us via mail.
Is that?
I'm asking if you share the presentation with us.
Yeah, I will share the presentation and then the Excel sheet and the articles, everything.
God bless you, Doc.
Yeah, God bless you too. Bye bye.
Thank you so
Have a
much.
good weekend.
This means a lot. Thank you. Like
Yeah.
something I've come in my mind. I think I'll get in touch with you.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Bye bye.